Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. We have a major update on the Nico Williams transfer to Arsenal, and this changes everything. Atletico Bilbao are trying to give him a new deal with a new release clause. That means that by the time we get to the summer, his release clause might have changed from 45 million to about 80 million. Now, according to a couple of sources in La Liga and Spain, the club want to lose him at a very significant fee. They agree that he's going to be leaving this summer, but they don't want to lose him for just 45 million. They want to lose him for a little bit higher than that. Now, for Arsenal, this could be good news and this could be bad news as well. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. In this video, let's dive into what are the conditions that the Nico Williams deal to Arsenal happens. That's number one. And number two, what does the new update really mean for us as Arsenal fans that are crazy about Nico Williams? Now, of course, we know Mikel Arteta is a big fan of Nico Williams, and talks have been held between the agent of the player, Tainter, and the new sporting director at Arsenal in Andrea Bata. However, today a massive update has actually dropped from Spain, and it says Atletico Bilbao are looking to give him a new deal and increase his release clause from 45 million to a little bit higher than that. And that actually is a problem. Now, giving him a new deal at this point in time is very it's very smart. I mean, Brighton have done it before with Moises Caicedo. Remember, in January, Arsenal were pouncing on him. We wanted to sign him, and Brighton said no. We want to give ourselves a chance to sell him for a high fee. They gave him a new deal, increased his salary, and in the summer, just like 2 months later or 3 months later, they actually sold him for a record fee of a DM in the Premier League. That is what Atletico Bilbao are trying to do. They're trying to agree a deal with him so they can get more money out of it. Now, Arsenal went into this deal knowing that Nico Williams is a market opportunity. Although a couple of clubs are interested, but when you look at his price and you look at his personal terms, that is a deal that can be done. In fact, Andre Bata, coming from that meeting last week, he was convinced that Arsenal could actually agree a deal in terms of personal terms with the players' camp. Yes, they want 250k, but that can be negotiated down for now. Now, it was looking good. Now Atletico Bilbao want to spoil everything. So what does this mean in terms of the update to Arsenal? First and foremost, if it goes up to 60, 70, maybe 80, I think it changes everything. Arsenal went into this deal, 45 million is a market opportunity, and we want as many players as we can bear this summer. I mean, it has been reported in my last video that Arsenal want about 5 big signings, and in total, Arsenal could do about 7 signings this summer. So if this guy, Nico Williams, goes from 45 to about 80, Arsenal might be forced to abandon ship. I mean, we are already linked with Semenyo, we are linked with Mbeumo, we are linked with Rafa Leao. That story came out today as well. I didn't really verify it, but I've seen it making rounds as well. We are linked with Leroy Sané on a free. It tells you that Arsenal have other options and Arsenal have other positions they're actually exploring. And never forget, there is that beautiful Ademola Lookman story that will be running very, very soon on the channel. So Arsenal looking at Lookman, looking at Semenyo, looking at Mbeumo, they know the Williams deal is not going to be easy. And if the price rises and the release clause rises from 45 to maybe 70, maybe 75, it's one where I see Arsenal say, listen, he's good, but we're not going to spend 75 million pounds on one young winger who's 22. Let's go spend 45 on Semenyo and walk away. Now, this could also be an advantage in itself. Why? Let me explain. If the release clause rises from 45 million to around 70 million, maybe Arsenal don't have to trigger the release clause. Maybe we can negotiate with Atletico Bilbao and kind of pay the money in installments. Now, what happened last summer is Barca went to Atletico Bilbao and said, listen, we want to sign this guy, but we want to pay the money in installments. We are going to offer you about 65 million euros instead of your 45, but we want to sign him in installments. We want to pay the money in installments. And Atletico Bilbao said, to hell with that. No way we're doing this. Now, that could have been because of two reasons. One, they were not ready to lose Nico Williams last summer. I mean, they did have a proper replacement and they were just not ready for the process. This summer, they will be ready for the process and they will have a replacement in mind already. So if Arsenal look at that price and it is 70 million and it is not to be paid upfront, it's not to be paid all at once, the deal then makes more sense than it is right now. It actually becomes cheaper than it is right now. Why? So there is this thing called contract amortization. Contract amortization basically means that if you agree to pay 70 million for a player and that player signs a 5-year deal, that 70 million is going to be divided across 5 years. So let's say it's 70 million and it's 70 million and the contract of the player is 5 years, then that means that Arsenal have to pay about just like 15 millions every year. That makes more sense, and that is actually a deal that would allow us to go out there and sign other players. So it's an advantage if Bilbao would be willing to negotiate the release clause. It is 70, right? They're willing to lose him, they're willing to sell, and they're willing to negotiate. It will depend on how Arsenal will look at the situation. Now, I also want us to look at the other conditions that actually would make this deal possible. First and foremost, as I was writing this, I said he doesn't sign the new deal. If he doesn't sign the new deal, it actually makes it easy for Arsenal. Why? He's already earning 165. If he agrees to a salary increment, like up to 200, he's going to ask for around 300k per week. I mean, he's already asking for 250k and above per week. He's going to ask for 300k. The wages are going to be highly exorbitant. Now, when it comes to Atletico Bilbao, they've got this policy where they've got the ability to sign, to give their players huge contracts with big money. 22-year-old Nico Williams is earning 165. Bro, that's a lot of money. So if Arsenal go in there and he has signed a new deal and the release clause has increased and he has increased his salary that he's earning at Bilbao, his salary expectations are going to rise. That deal will not happen. But if he doesn't sign the new deal, everything stays as it is. Barca then has one job. Go in and talk to the player. Go in and talk to the player's camp. Let's see if we can get him at slightly lower wages, if it's possible, 200k, maybe below. We can increase his salary from 165 to 185 or 195. It would make a lot of sense. The second thing, negotiations and his salary expectations have to come down, right? I think that is the second condition for which Nico Williams joins Arsenal. I don't think that Arsenal are going to give Saliba 200k, Gabriel 200k, and all these other guys that are worthy of 200,000 and then go out there and get Nico Williams, unproven yet. Yes, he's done well in the Euros, he's done well at Bilbao, but I don't think he's worth 250,000. His salary expectations have got to come down a little bit. And here is the catch. There is no club in Europe right now that is going to be as stupid to just dash Nico Williams 250,000 apart from Chelsea. And as we speak, Chelsea have their own financial fair play breach problems. So that means if however much they have the money, however much they're crazy, they'll have to spend it wisely. So for me, I can see Arsenal give 200k and above to Saliba. I can see Gabriel Magalhaes get that salary. Saka, Havertz, Rice, Odegaard. I can see those six earning 200k and above with Thomas Partey. But after that, it is going to take a lot of hard work for players to come and then climb into that 200k bracket. Because it means that if they don't, we're going to have around 20 players earning 200k. I mean, this is a project that is full of players that are doing well. So for me, Nico Williams, his price tag has to remain constant, £45 million, and then his salary expectations have to come down. The next condition, Arsenal are going to have to be quick and push harder. What do I mean? If the price stays at 45 million, many clubs are going to want to sign him. I mean, many clubs can afford him at 45 million. Anyone can afford him. Even Nottingham Forest can afford him. They actually, Forest are looking at Matthias Cunha at 55 million. That tells you that, they have got the Muller, right? And they have, of course, they have UEFA Champions League football and all that. But Arsenal have got to be quick, and we've got to press and push harder. Why? First and foremost, we've got to be quick, agree personal terms with the player, and convince him not to sign a new deal at Atletico Bilbao. That is number one. That will save us the increase in price and the increase in salary. Number two, we have to be quick to fend off interest from the other interested parties. I think Liverpool will be all over this deal. They will say, we have lost Trent, probably lost Salah. This is our chance to go and get Nico and just cook. There is talk of Luis Diaz leaving as well. So Liverpool are under a massive rebuild, and so are Manchester City. So Arsenal have got to push harder, and Arsenal have got to push, quicker. Of course, we have to push harder because there is this Barcelona thing. Nico Williams loves Barca, and for you to turn him away, you've got to push a little bit harder as well. And then Nico Williams will have to push to join Arsenal. Now, of course, he's a player that loves Atletico Bilbao. They respect Atletico Bilbao with his brother. He's always said, Bilbao is everything to us. It's our life. It's it's our home. If I have to play here for the rest of my life, I don't have a problem with that. I can do that. So why does Nico Williams have to push harder for Arsenal? First and foremost, I don't expect him to push out for a move out of Bilbao. I mean, he won't put them under pressure. If they want to sell him, they will sell. If they want to sell him for 80 million, he will sit and wait for a club that has 80 million. But the reason that's why he has to push for Arsenal in particular is this. Competition is stiff. We have had Bayern, according to Politico. We have had Liverpool rumors, Manchester City, Manchester United, the mighty Chelsea, and the Arsenal. So that tells you that the player is going to have to make his pick and stick to it. The way Zubimendi has done it, the way Rice did it, the way Odegaard did it. You pick Arsenal. He has to pick Arsenal and push. Convince his agents that I'm going to go to Arsenal. Convince Atletico Bilbao, I'm going to Arsenal. Regardless of who brings more money, regardless of who brings more money up front, I'm going to Arsenal, and that is the deal. If that happens, if those conditions happen, okay, it's more likely that he will join us. Now, let's talk about the reality. Arsenal already have two left wingers, right? Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli. Nico Williams would definitely come in as a third. Now, Mikel Arteta is a genius. He has tried Gabriel Martinelli out on the right, kind of a backup to Saka, but it hasn't worked. And in that position is youngster Ethan Nwaneri. Future S, the future of Arsenal, Ethan Nwaneri. And that tells you everything you need to know about the future of Trossard, Martinelli. If Nico Williams is going to come in, Arsenal might have to let go one of those. Now, we have been told that there was talk that Arsenal might have to make a major sell or a major departure if Nico is to come in. And I don't 100% disagree with that. Because look, Gyökeres comes in for 70 million and Kai Havertz becomes redundant, right? Not redundant really, but becomes a backup. If you add Nico Williams to the squad, you have created two backups there in Trossard and Martinelli. So I kind of feel like that one of them has to leave. A few people have told me, let Martinelli go. A few people have said, let Trossard go. I mean, the battle continues. And then we've got to talk about the salary earners. As Nico comes in, yes, he will have to reduce his salary expectations, but he's not going to reduce them to the extent that he's going to be earning less than 165. So I'm also thinking that one big earner might have to exit the club. Partey is leaving. He's a big earner at the club. Jorginho is leaving. He's a big earner as well. And I won't be surprised if another big earner at the club actually leaves as Nico Williams comes in. I mean, like I've said, you can't have a wage bill that is unsustainable. Arsenal are running a sustainable business model, and what that means is you pay wages that the club makes, from the money that the club makes. You're not just going to milk the cronkies in order to push money into the club. And finally, if Arsenal have a good summer in sales, all these deals that we're talking about, including the Nico Williams deal, have a higher chance of happening. What do I mean? It is very difficult for a club like Arsenal to go out and spend 300 million these days. I mean, clubs can do it. Man City spent 180 in January. But for a club like Arsenal, we are not yet at that level. So if you're going to have to spend 200 plus million once again for the third time in about 5 years, we might actually have to let go of some players. And some players that are going to generate some good income. I'm not saying Kieran Tierney, Jorginho, Partey. Those are free agents, baby. They allow you to free up some space on the wage bill so that you can bring in players and pay them well, but you need to make some money. Vieira, Kivio, Zinchenko, all these players, their contracts are still on and they should be sold and they could be sold. If we sell well, there's a bigger chance that we will get players like Nico through the door. Let me know what you think about the Nico Williams deal. Should Arsenal do whatever it takes? Should we break the bank? Let me know. I'll speak to you right in the next